Good morning to one and all. Welcome to online video lecture for the subject electrical machines 2. And the topic I would like to discuss is rotor reactance, rotor current, and power factor at standstill and running conditions in a three-phase induction motor. The revolving magnetic field set up in the stator by polyphase currents is common to both stator and rotor winding. So this means the rotating magnetic field, which links with the rotor conductors, it causes a polyphase current. That means the three-phase currents, which is common to both stator and rotor winding. Okay, so this field induces EMFs in both the windings, as similar to the three-phase transformers or single-phase transformers. The EMF induced in the both primary and secondary windings. So likewise here also for the stator winding and the rotor winding, their EMF is induced. So the stator induced EMF per phase is given by the relation E1 equal to 4.44 kW1 into T1 into F into phi m, where Kw1 is the winding factor. So winding factor is nothing but it is a product of displacement distance factor and the pole pitch factor. Okay, so right now I'm not discussing about this winding factor. It's a constant ratio. It's a constant factor. Okay, which is used for maximum linkage of flux, so that the efficiency of the motor can be improved. That depends upon the winding factor. So that is a parameter there, and this is a separate concept. Coming to this T1 or N1. Okay, so in earlier in transformers, I think we have discussed there we have written it as N1. So no problem, anything it can be considered. So where T1 or N1 is the number of turns per phase of stator winding, where F is the stator or supply frequency or fundamental frequency, and phi m is the maximum value of flux. See, the rotor induced EMF per phase is E2 equal to 4.44 kW2 into T2 into phi F into phi m. So everything remains the same. So here only the winding factor and the turns. So these are the only two difference. Remaining everything it appears to be same. All the parameters are constant there. Okay. So but here we have to consider it as the rotor frequency as FR, because it may differ. So the frequency of the induced EMFs in both the windings, either in the stator and or the rotor, it remains same for both the induced EMFs and the currents. But whereas coming to the so only the EMF frequency is constant both in the stator and rotor, but the frequency of the current it may be different. Okay, so because of this, the rotor frequency is different. Okay, so therefore the rotor induced EMF per phase at standstill or start conditions is E2S equal to 4.44 kW2 into T2 into F into phi m. Okay, since Fr equal to here consider it as F. Okay, look at from equation 2. So this is equation 2 here. So from equation 2 we can write it as E2R, the rotor under running condition, equal to 4.44 kW2 into T2 into S into F. Here F is the look at the equation 2 here. F is nothing but the F rotor frequency, which is proportional to the slip. So substitute F in place of F to SF. Okay, so FR equal to S into F. Okay, so E2R equal to S into E2S. So where E2 or E2S is nothing but the induced EMF under no load conditions. Okay, or either at standstill also we can term it as the same. So E2R is the rotor EMF equation under running condition. So the induced EMF in the rotor circuit is maximum at the start and varies accordingly to the value of slip under running condition. So this means what happens there here under a standstill condition, that is at slip equal to 1. So whatever may be the cause, intentionally the rotor is made to be constant, or anything, any reasons. If the rotor is constant there, the slip will be maximum, and of course EMF is also depending upon the slip. Obviously, the EMF is also maximum. Okay, so that is the justification of this point. Next, rotor resistance. So coming to the rotor resistance, uh, it is made up of some conducting material, either copper or aluminum. It has a definite resistance, that is R equal to rho L by A. Its values remains constant and it is denoted by R2. So the rotor resistance, whatever may be the angular position. So whatever the at different positions earlier we have seen at the 0 degrees, 60, 120, whatever it may be, the resistance remains constant throughout under running operation. Of course, resistivity may differ under different temperature conditions. So that is apart from this. Okay. So overall, the resistance remains constant in the rotor circuit because the coil is fixed. There is this coil has some internal resistance. So that is the actual thing. Next, coming to the rotor reactance. So whole of the flux produced by the rotor currents does not link with the stator winding. So since as we have discussed in the working principle, the rotating magnetic field, it is linked with the rotor conductors. So as depending on the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, so EMF is induced in the rotor conductors, and since the circuit is closed by its end rings in case of the squirrel cage rotor, so what happens? The current draws by the rotor circuit, and it also develops a flux. So this flux may not be linked with the stator winding. So that is, it may be lost in the air gap. So that is the meaning of this. So whatever the flux developed in the rotor may also cannot link completely to the stator. Okay, so there will be some leakage flux. Okay, so that is the point here. The part of the rotor flux which links the rotor conductors, but not the with the stator winding, called the leakage flux, and hence there develops a leakage inductance, that is L2. So normal, what is the general equation there? So the rotor reactance X2R equal to 2 pi Fr into L2. So this equation comes from omega equal to 2 pi L. Okay. So X equal to omega L. So omega here 2 pi F. So where 2 pi is constant and F is constant, and L is constant there. The F may be varied. Okay. So the frequency may vary because continuously the polyphase signals, I mean the three-phase signals are continuously varying. Okay, so it is of a rotating magnetic field, so the frequency may differ. So it may be vary from different angular positions. Okay, so that the reactance offered by it is also varying. So therefore, x equal to omega L. So omega 2 pi L is constant. Only F is variable part. So based upon the frequency variation, the reactance is offered by the coil is also getting varied. So that we have to actually notice here. So I think we have discussed in that direct axis and quadrature axis reactance also. So in that position, so what is the maximum resistance offered and what is the minimum resistance offered by the coil? So here also under the running conditions, what is the rotor reactance? So we can term it as X2R. So we can see here, which is equal to 2 pi Fr into L2. So substitute Fr equal to S into F. Earlier we have seen the rotor frequency is proportional to the slip. Okay. So by substituting this value, we get X2R equal to S into 2 pi F into L2, which is equal to S into X2. So where Fr is the rotor frequency, value is S into F, and L2 is the leakage inductance or the secondary inductance. Okay. Coming to the rotor impedance. Okay. So impedance here Z2 equal to R2 plus J into X2. So earlier we have seen in this equation, so X2R equal to S into X2. By substituting this value, we get R2 plus J into S into X2. Okay. And the magnitude of the rotor impedance given as Z2 equal to root of R2 square plus S into X2 whole square. Okay. So this is the magnitude of the impedance in the rotor side. Okay. So let us discuss two cases, that is the standstill conditions and running conditions. So what do we mean by standstill conditions? So standstill means the rotor is starting from the angle 0. So there is no difference between the stator and the rotor speeds, that is the magnetic field speeds. Okay. So Standstill means slip is starting from s equal to 1. Sorry, it's not 0, s equal to 1. Okay, so here the rotor is made intentionally to block or something, any other reason. So here the rotor is made constant here. If there is no uh, difference between the relative velocity of the stator and the rotor, then the slip equal to 1 there. Okay, so here, for example, in the ladder diagram we have seen in the under the working principle, in that diagram we can see the ladder and the permanent magnet both are moved at the same speed. The amount of flux linkage is maximum, which is proportional to the induced EMF. So the induced EMF is maximum, but actually there is no difference. There is no difference in the speed. So what happens there? The rotor never rotates in practical, but the induced EMF is maximum. Okay, so that condition is called as the standstill condition. Okay, so look at this first one. When the rotor is stationary, that is s equal to 1, the frequency of the rotor EMF is the same as that of the stator supply frequency. So that means whatever the rotating magnetic field speed is there, so it will be same as the rotor rotating magnetic field. Okay, and the value of EMF induced in the rotor at this standstill condition is maximum. Okay, because the relative speed between the rotor and the revolving stator flux is maximum. So since these two things, I mean the rotating magnetic field and the rotor moves in this same speed, the amount of EMF is induced is maximum. Sorry, the amount of flux induced is, sorry, EMF induced is maximum, and it is also proportional to the flux. So flux is also maximum. So in fact, the motor is equivalent to the three-phase transformer with a short-circuited rotating secondary. So in the transformers also we have seen the primary part which resembles like the same for an induction machine also. So there exists the primary, here secondary. So primary impedance, primary induced EMF, primary currents, turns, everything remains same. But coming to the rotor side, there with an thick wire it can be short circuited, so without any connecting actual load. So that circuit represents like a short circuited secondary of the induction motor. Okay, so next, so let us find out the parameters, that is the induced EMF per phase in rotor, rotor impedance, rotor current, and power factors under standstill conditions. Okay, so induced EMF per phase in rotor equal to E2S. Consider it as E2S under standstill condition. See, first we have to make an analysis that the no load secondary circuit. Okay, so in the transformers directly we can remove the load and we can treat it as no load or under load conditions. Okay, coming to the motor, we cannot make it as a, the circuit cannot be made at say no load. Okay, so there we need to remove the slip rings. Suppose if we consider a slip ring induction motor, there the slip rings has to be removed and the circuit is treated as an open circuit. There we can note down the maximum in induced EMF. Okay, so there exists the no load voltage which will be high rather than the short circuited thing. Okay, so that is the case there. Uh, Either in a squirrel cage, the end rings has to be removed. Then that rotor can be considered as an open circuited secondary circuit. Okay, right. Just for theoretical analysis only, we can find out the rotor induced EMF under no load. Okay, so here actually for the motor the load is the mechanical load, but the secondary circuit is made no load. Okay, just for analysis. Okay, next, coming to the rotor impedance, which is equal to Z2S, and the value is root of R2 square plus S into X2 whole square. Here S is replaced with 1. Okay, next, rotor current I2S, or it can treat it as I2R, no issue. So it is treated as under standstill conditions. All these Z2S represents the standstill conditions at secondary circuits, circuit parameters. Z2, I2, fast I2, all these for secondary parameters under standstill conditions. Okay, so then the rotor current I2S equal to E2S by Z2S, which is equal to E2S by root of R2 square plus X2 whole square. Here S is replaced with 1. Okay, next coming to the power factor. Power factor here is cos phi equal to R by Z. So in similar fashion here, R in the sense secondary rotor resistance, R2 by root of R2 square plus X2 whole square. Okay. So here the rotor currents appears from I equal to V by Z. Similar fashion, here V in the sense of the secondary induced EMF under standstill condition, which is also equal to S into E2. So here S is replaced with 1 here. Next, under running condition. So what is this running condition? So here running condition means it starts from S equal to 0. So earlier the standstill condition is it starts from S equal to 1 or S equal to 1. Okay. So when the rotor starts running, the relative speed between it and the rotating stator flux is decreased. See, when the rotor starts running and the relative speed between it and the rotating stator flux is decreased. So this point indicates that if uh, if suppose this rotating magnetic field is linked with the rotor conductors, the rotor starts moving. Okay, so when it starts moving, the amount of linkage of flux will be reduced, and this causes the EMF also reduced in the rotor conductors. Hence, the rotor induced EMF, which is directly proportional to this relative speed, is also decreased. So that is the reason for the low starting torque, and may disappear altogether if the rotor speed were become equal to the speed of the stator flux. If suppose earlier same case, if these two speeds are same, again the induced EMF will be maximum, but there will be no rotation. Hence, for a slip S, the rotor induced EMF will be S times induced EMF at standstill. So finally, what they would like to conclude is the rotor the rotor induced EMF will be S times of the EMF at standstill. Therefore, ER equal to S into E2, E2S. Okay, so right, or E2. So induced EMF per phase in rotor equal to E2R. Okay, so consider it as a running condition. So E2R, which is equal to S into E2. Okay, so let us find out the rotor impedance. Z2R equal to root of R2 square plus S into X2 whole square, and we need to replace with slip value. Okay, all for this remaining parameters also. That is the rotor current I2R equal to E2R by Z2R, which is equal to S into E2 by root of R2 square plus S into X2 whole square, and power factor cos phi 2R equal to R2 by root of R2 square plus S into X2 whole square. So for all these parameters, we have to replace the slip value, and the slip cannot be equal to 0 practically. And there the motor never rotates. The slip value basically it varies from 2 to 8%. So this is how the parameters under running conditions. Let us see the example. A three-phase 50 Hz 4-pole slip ring induction motor has star connected rotor. The full load speed of the motor is 1460 rpm. The rotor resistance and standstill reactance per phase are 0.1 ohms and 1.5 ohm respectively, and the open circuited voltage on open circuit between the slip rings is 90 volts. So determine percentage slip, induced EMF in the rotor per phase, rotor reactance per phase at full load, and the rotor current and full load power factor. Okay, so what does the question mean? So here a three-phase 50 Hz frequency, so that is the supply frequency is 50 Hz, and the poles of 4 poles. The full load speed of the motor is 1460 rpm. So full load speed means the final the rotor speed. So 1460, either it may be denoted as NR or capital N, 1460 rpm. The rotor resistance given as 0.1 ohms, and the rotor reactance under standstill is 1.5 ohms, and they have given the open circuit voltage 90 volts. Earlier I have said to you, if you want to make the secondary circuit as open, we have to remove the slip rings in case of slip ring rotors, or if we choose a squirrel cage, we have to remove the end rings. So there we can find out the no load voltage, induced EMF. Okay. So for finding out the percentage slip, so look at here, first one, we need to find out the synchronous speed. So what is the actual speed required and what the speed it is running. So for that, you have to calculate 120 f by p, which is the synchronous speed. and the value is 1500 rpm. Since frequency is 50 hertz and the poles are 4, and we can find out the slip ns minus n by ns, which is equal to 0.0266. In terms of percentage, if we require multiply with 100, we get percentage slip equal to 2.66%. Next, induced EMF per phase in rotor at standstill. So per phase, if required, means we have to divide by root 3, 90 by root 3, we get 51.96. So what they have asked, induced EMF in rotor per phase. So they want ER. Okay. So actually, in the question they have given as full load speed of the motor. So is 1460. So here also the rotor induced EMF at full load is ER equal to S into E2, because the slip is calculated for full load. So the value is 1.382 volts. So what is the third question? The rotor reactance per phase at full load. Okay. So for that, what we require, the rotor reactance at standstill. The given is 1.5 ohms. So we need to find out the rotor reactance per phase. So that is XR or X2R equal to S into X2. So it is 0.0399 ohms per phase. What is the last one? The rotor current and full load power factor. So the rotor impedance per phase, the rotor impedance per phase at full load equal to Z2, which is equal to root of R2 square plus S into X2 whole square, which is equal to 0.1077 ohms. The rotor current per phase, so I2R equal to E2R by Z2R. So 1.382 by 0.1077, which is equal to 12.83 amps. And the full load power factor cos phi 2 equal to R2 by Z2. By substituting these values, we get 0.92. So this is how we have calculated the all the all the required things by using these formulas. So finally, what I would like to conclude is, so the induced EMFs in the rotor side and the stator, so that is stator side and the rotor side, and what is the induced EMF under running conditions, and that is proportional to S into, that is proportional to slip, which is equal to S into E to S, and the rotor resistance remains constant either in standstill or running condition. And what about the reactance? So the reactance may vary, and it depends upon the frequency. If you want to find out the rotor reactance, so then X2R equal to S into X2, because by substituting FR equal to S into F, we get this equation. And the rotor impedance Z2 equal to root of R2 square plus S into X2 whole square. Suppose from this equation, under standstill S is equal to 1, and running condition S equal to the slip value, whatever may be the slip, but it cannot be never 0. In case of 0, the impedance, there exists only the resistance. It never offers any reactance. Okay, if reactance is 0, means the frequency is 0, so there is no supply in it. So that is the actual meaning. So under standstill, so these are the equations there. Substitute S equal to 1 in all these equations. Here Z2S equal to root of R2 square plus X2 whole square. I2S equal to S into E2, E2S or S into E2. So substitute S equal to 1. So we get this equation. And power factor cos phi 2 is equal to, or cos phi 2 equal to R2 by root of R2 square plus X2 square. In the similar case, under running condition, so these are the equations. Substitute the slip value here, not S equal to 0, but actually it starts from S equal to 0. Okay, so in real time it may be varied from 2 to 8%. So that is the case here. So these are the parameters. So hope you understand the session. Thank you.